Hey guys, today we're taking a look at the new McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse Page Punchers Damian Wayne Robin. Let's get a better look at that packaging, shall we? So here's the packaging up close and personal here. We of course have the contents right there. Up at the top we have the advertisement for the comic, and it's of course 12 plus. At the bottom we have the DC Direct logo right there, and of course the Robin name right there. Not much on either side besides windows. And on the back we have a promo of what the issue is, which is Batman and Robin, Batman Reborn #1, one of my favorite comic book runs of all time. So very excited to actually have the first issue in floppy. And then on the other underside you have all the legalese and stuff like that, page punchers, DC Direct. McFarlane Toys social medias, of course, follow them on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Great resources for getting up to date on pre-orders and stuff like that. And the barcode for all you barcode hunters out there. But alright, guys, let's get this dude out of the packaging. Here we have Damian out of the packaging, and before we take a look at the figure himself, we're of course going to take a look at the other contents. Which up first, we of course have... And if you know any McFarlane figure, they come with these two things. It comes with the hockey puck base there, with the DC logo right there, one peg, nothing on the back. And then he comes with the individualized card, which is just taken straight off the cover of Batman Reborn #1. It's got the Robin thing right there. And then a little bio about Damian right there, which isn't a bad thing, which isn't a bad bio. It gets to the nitty-gritty of the character, but it misuses a lot of context, like how Damian was introduced, and did Talia sexually assault Batman, and all of that stuff, and also just the fact that I personally think Damian Wayne is the scum of the earth and should have stayed dead when Morrison killed him off. But overall, he is definitely a character that I've warmed up to over the years, but I still do not like him as a character. Never have, probably never will. Again, Damian's just... I hate the cocky, brask, archetype that Damian is derived from, and the fact that he is Batman's son also strikes a chord with me, because a lot of the Robins are basically his sons already, so introducing an actual biological son is just trying to make your character more important than everybody else without actually giving them a reason to be. It's just, no, he's the son, he's the blood son, so he's important. It's not any kind of creative freedom at all. I love Morrison for a lot of the stuff he does. I think, ironically, this Batman run's pretty great. It's just the fact that Morrison created Damian that boggles my mind. But with that all said, we of course get the comic which the figure derives from, which is of course Batman and Robin. Batman Reborn, Batman and Robin #1 by Grant Morrison and art by Frank Quitely. And it's a beautiful looking book. I'm not going to flip through a lot of it, but just to see like pages of Damian. Dick right there. More art of Mr. Toad there. And sometimes Dick has a blue costume, sometimes he does not. But overall, I think it's a really solid run. You guys should totally check it out in the collected editions. The first trade of Batman Reborn usually never goes out of print, but the other ones are kind of a hard thing to get a hold of. But I'd highly recommend the Batman and Robin stuff, just because you get to see a grumpy Robin and a happy Batman. Like, the dynamic between Dick Grayson and Damian is just so fun, and almost makes up for the fact that I just disagree with Damian as a character. But Damian also comes with, at least for the accessories that he isn't holding in his hand, he comes with Mr. Pig's mask that is broken, which I think happens in the run, but I don't think it happens in this issue. Let me just scroll through it real quick. Because I don't think Mr. Pig actually shows up. Oh, he does. Yeah, but it's not in... It doesn't break in this issue, but it breaks in the arc that this issue is a part of. So that is that. But that's a weird accessory to include. But let's get him off the turntable. And first of all, take a look at the sword, which I think is a solid sword for Damian and actually fits his build, unlike the sword that came with the first one, which is the only other Damian figure I have. But it's a nice sword. It's a nice height for Damian. It's not a huge Mama Jama sword, but... And it's also solidly painted. It even has a glass breaker on the end. Kind of cool, but cool sword. And then, of course, as you noticed, he has a wired cape and hood, which is cool to see because you can take off the hood like that. And then you can just keep it down like that, and you have an extra little bit to the cape right there. And you can just have him like that. And then he also has a posable cape for all your posable cape needs, which that is also really cool. I'll probably keep mine hooded because I grew up with Arkham City, and that Robin for me is what I think of when I think of Robin. So, but here is Damian, the figure, and overall it's a solid buck, even though I think the legs are reuse from the Gotham Knights or the previous Damian, the gray Damian, the costume that he has currently in the books, which I'm not a huge fan of that costume. It's why I didn't get it. But the rest seems completely new sculpt, new head, which looks straight out of the book. I mean, come on. Can't get much better than that. And he also has, you know, the R right there, and kind of the checkmark R in fashion of Tim Drake, but a little bit different. And then you also have a kind of shadowing there under the pits. Or that could be bird wings. If so, that's a nice little detail. And then, of course, you have the standard Robin tunic thing right there. This Robin also has pants, which is a cool thing. Post the 80s. It was Tim Drake that had the first Robin costume with pants on. And then it's and all this, and then you of course have the green gauntlets, which have the 2 fins instead of the 3 for Batman. And then the tennis shoes, which look great. I love the red laces and the green. It really makes this character pop on what normally would be a black figure for the most part. And honestly, this is probably my favorite Damian design. I am a huge fan of this design, and if I see Damian, I usually think of either this design or how he appears in the DC AMU, which is the New 52 kind of world that started with Flashpoint and then went on with like Justice League War, Son of Batman, which is the first, I believe it's the first adaptation of Damian. I'm pretty sure. I don't think he was in anything like story-wise, because I know he was in Lego Batman 2. And that was a big deal because it was this costume that was featured in Lego Batman 2. But I'm trying to think of any other incarnations of Damian that was before Son of Batman, and that was 2014. So we've had 10 years of Damian and other things besides comics. Joy. But I think the cape looks nice. It has also like a diamond shape, which I think is interesting to see. And again, it just really stands out on your shelf as a Robin figure. It has all the colors. It has all the green, all the red, all the yellow. But, and also the blue highlights in the hair give it a nice comic booky kind of feel right there in that face you just want to punch. But let's get into the articulation here. So for his head, he looks up very far, very, very far, and looks down decently well. And he rotates his head all around. So standard, really good double wall peg for the head there. For the shoulders, he has the armpit joint in there, but it's a bit snug because it looks like the tunic is actual rubber this time around instead of sculpted. But you still have that armpit joint there. And his arms hinge all the way out. They do a full 360 like so. The bicep swivel right there. Double jointed elbows, which don't look that bad considering the double jointed elbows we've seen in the line. And then my main beef with this figure is that, specifically with mine, I don't think the gauntlets are glued on, so they kind of just shrink around, and that gets in the way of doing a lot of the posability in the wrists. So it does exist, and I do love these joints quite a bit, but it'll shrink down to the wrists, so it'll almost be kind of unposable, kind of like how the second year of Multiverse was, where they were trying to hide joints while also limiting posability. But for the torso, he hinges not far at all. Looks like we're going backwards with this. We were getting somewhere and then we stopped, but he moves that far down, moves that far back, rotates very well. Not a lot of ab movement right there. But for the legs, different McFarlane legs, because it looks like they're not the classic ratchety legs we've seen before, so that's interesting to get some new legs there. And of course they can move forward and back and all that stuff. Decent mid thigh pivot. It's thigh pivot, but it's mid. And then you, of course, have the double jointed knees, which look pretty good. And then at the ankles, you, of course, have hinges up and down. And rotation at the top. And ankle pivot at the bottom. And this is a rubber, and it's sculpted in a way so it doesn't impede the articulation while still looking flush with the sculpt. And then you, of course, have toe articulation like so, and peg holes at the bottom of the feet. And to start off here, we have Batman in the outfit that he wore in Batman and Son, Damian's first introduction there, and obviously the Jim Lee Hush outfit, which would go on to be drawn by Andy Kubert in Batman and Son, which I do not like that book, but the art is beautiful, I have to say. But they look great as well. I also am a huge fan of the way the blue is with this Batman, and it does really make Robin that much more realistic in a way, because it's a dark blue here, but yet Robin, is the target that he is, So, again, a great piece to go with all of your Bat fans. And here is Damian with some more Robins here. We, of course, have the Carrie Kelly Dark Knight Returns Robin, which is probably still my favorite Robin figure that's come out so far, but this one's damn close. We have the first Rebirth Robin, which at the time was good, but now he's kind of outlived his usefulness there. And then we, of course, have the classic 80s Tim Drake, which I'm personally have an affinity for because that's the outfit Grayson wore in the animated series. But overall, it's a solid team of Robins. I'm not going to front. They look great together, even though the Damians do kind of clash a bit. But if you take that guy out, they look pretty well together. And here is Damian with all four of the main Robins here. I am excluding a Robin, but we don't have a Stephanie Brown-ish figure yet, either as Batgirl or as Spoiler. So this will have to do because the card says he is the 5th and current Robin. Stephanie Brown is technically the 4th, even though she was relatively a short-term Robin. Shorter than Jason Todd, actually, because Jason Todd wasn't a Robin for that long. But, yeah, this is what we got right now, and, I chose very interesting figures for this comparison, but, I think it works overall. Maybe, not Nightwing if you turn him around, but as it is, very solid lineup for the Robin. And here we have the Batman Reborn #1 comic panel here. The one everybody was looking to see. And yeah, this is great. It's weird, though, that the first Batman and Robin dynamic duo with wired capes is the Grayson Damian, though, and not like, you know, Batman and Grayson or something like that. Very odd choice. And here we are kind of winding down our look at Damian here. And overall, I think he's a solid figure and probably the best Damian figure we have right now. With that being said, there are some problems with the figure, such as the abs being absolutely horrific. Even though they look good, the range is just not there. And also, and I didn't touch on this in the review, the main detail portion of it anyway, but the fact that he comes with only one sword holding hand, like object holding hand in one fist, that's kind of lame. I'd much rather prefer a 2 gripping hand figure instead of just the one. I find that incredibly lame. But I mean, the cape and hood secure this figure in the bag. Also, I mean, he looks just straight out of the comic. I mean, come on, it's no contest. It's no contest. Todd really saw something and just did it, right? He just made that character plastic. But with all that being said, I'm gonna have to give this figure an 8.5. Not quite a 9. I wouldn't give him a 9. But he is definitely a solid figure. And again, probably the best Damian figure he's put out. So if you're looking for a Bat Family display option, this guy's your bet. If you're looking for just a Batman and Robin, this guy's your bet. I mean, if you're also looking for, you know, Titans, I mean, the list is endless. This guy is a must-buy. This guy is a must-buy. And, I mean, you get a really good start to a phenomenal comic run by Grant Morrison, too. So, that's kind of a double whammy. So, with all that being said, let me know what you guys think about this figure down in the comments down below. I'd really love to hear you guys' opinions on him, and it makes the editing process go by that much faster. And also, you know, like and subscribe and all that jazz. You know how it be. And with that being said, keep collecting, be kind and courteous out there, and I will see you in the next review. Peace.